Good morning. My name is Kelly. I'm a Pilates instructor and owner at Movement Source Pilates Studio in South Philadelphia. And just a quick information, when you're on the class here, you're muted. So any questions that you might have for me, if you can type them up in the chat, my friends at Girls Night In will be monitoring that, and then we can answer some questions at the end of class. So that would be awesome. And through here, if you'd like to, if you're able to, if you'd like to donate, my Venmo is at Kelly ADO. And if you're prompted for a security code, it's 7879. All of those donations are going to go right back into my studio. Kind of during this time, studio had to close and everything's kind of online now. So a little bit about my teaching style. If you've done Pilates before, you might have had a classical instructor, or on the opposite side, you might have had a more contemporary instructor. I like to think of my teaching as somewhere in between. So I take the original teachings of Joe Pilates and his principles, and then I kind of add in whatever feels good. So I've been really interested in full body, more dynamic movement. Today's class, we're definitely just getting to like the tip of the iceberg. We're just hitting the highlights for how you can feel better after this half-hour session, and how you can really start your day a little bit more grounded, a little bit more lengthened, and hopefully feeling overall better there. So feel free to reach out. I'm probably most active on Instagram at Movement Source Pilates. I've been trying to get a little bit better with adding stuff on Facebook as well, but really on Instagram, if you follow and then you can message me, feel free to send me an email. I love answering questions. I would love feedback and how you feel after class today. And basically I could talk about Pilates all day long. So message me on there. Let's get started with class. If anything doesn't feel great that we're doing, I'm just kind of giving overall guidelines and general cues, but that doesn't always apply to everyone. So definitely adjust and move yourself to however it feels best for you. So we're going to start sitting, and the legs are going to straighten all the way forward. With the legs straight and forward, the hands are going to come right on top of the thighs, and you're going to lift all the way up and out through the crown of the head. Crown of the head reaches up. I'm flexing my feet backwards, so the toes are really reaching up towards the ceiling. Then the arms are going to reach straight and forward, so they're in the same line as my shoulders. Take a big inhale through the nose, sitting up tall, picturing if you're stacked against a wall. On your exhale, nod your chin toward your chest, slide the hands forward, stretch as far past your toes as you can. My arms are going to stay elevated so they're in the same line as my ears. I'm trying to touch the wall and bend my back. And that might be the first stretch of your morning. You can check in with how that feels. Keep reaching the arms forward. Pull in through the belly button. We're stacking back up tall, picturing if you can get low back, middle back, upper back, neck, and head to roll back up. And then you take a nice big inhale again. On your exhale, chin to chest, sliding the upper body forward. So this exercise is called spine stretch. You might feel the hamstring stretch, you might feel the calf stretch, but we're really trying to get some movement, mobility through the back. Low abs scoop in, rolling, stacking up, nice and tall. Big inhale up top, exhale diving forward. See if by this third one you can stretch a little bit more forward. And then pull in through the lower abdominal muscles, rolling back up, nice and tall. From there, the arms lower down, you scoot yourself forward so your feet will now be flat onto the mat, and then you reach the arms forward. Now we're stretching that back in the opposite direction. So I'm going to tuck the pelvis, pull in through the low abs, and see where I can hold, keeping my feet flat. Because then I'm going to breathe in, I breathe out, the abdominal muscles scoop in, and I reverse to lift back up. Tuck the pelvis, visualize the sit bone sliding forward toward your heels, the belly button, the lower abdominal muscles scooping in and back. Exhale, deepen, lifting back up, trying to sit up as tall as you can, even with those knees bent. If it's too much through the front of the thighs, the front of the hips this morning, I can go into a butterfly positioning is also an option. So I can tuck the hips from there, pull in, scoop, exhale, deepen, lift, or you can keep the knees up to the ceiling. We've got that 2 more times. Rocking the pelvis, again, only going to where you can hold. And this is your morning range of motion. So this might be different than your evening range of motion, your afternoon range of motion. Once you're all the way up, you keep the arms reaching forward. We're going to see how slow can you go all the way down. Tuck the pelvis, pull in through the low abs, slowly rolling down. Stick with your breathing all the way down to the mat. Plant the feet nice and weighted down. Relax the shoulders into the mat and then reach the arms forward. Press the hands into the mat next to your hips. And take this moment as a little check-in. So notice how much of your shoulder blades are on the mat. Is the rib cage nice and relaxed and heavy? Are the hips even and symmetrical as they sink and ground down into the mat? Then we take a nice big inhale through the nose. As you breathe out through the mouth, bend one knee in towards you. Inhale to lower that foot back down. Exhale, alternating. Inhale, lower. Now continue with that movement back and forth. Purpose of this exercise is to find a little bit of extra stability through the hips and through the pelvis. So you can take your hands to each pelvic half. As I'm folding each knee in towards me, I'm trying to find, can I keep everything exactly the same? So I don't want to change my low back positioning. I don't want my shoulders to lift up. We're seeing, can you move the thigh independently of the hips? Pilates was originally called contrology when Joe Pilates created it. So we're seeing how much control do you have of your mind and your body. One more side to side. Last one, exhale, bend. Inhale, lower. Exhale, bend one knee in towards you. Find the place where the knee is directly over top of the hip and the shin is parallel to the ceiling. Then you take a big inhale through the nose. On your exhale through the mouth, you add the second leg. This exercise is called Tabletop Position, and you're finding what range of motion works best for you. So ideally, if the knees can be directly over top of the hips and the shins can be parallel to the ceiling, that is awesome. That's a rock star status. If that doesn't work for your low back, that's okay. Again, it's early morning, just kind of seeing what body we have today. You can bend the knees closer in towards you until you feel the abdominal muscles working and the back not overworking or straining. So find your working position, reach the arms straight up to the ceiling, drop the shoulder blades down into the mat. We're gonna just hold this for 4 deep breaths. Big inhale through the nose, even bigger exhale through the mouth. 3 more deep breaths. Squeeze the inner thighs, tighten together. Visualize the navel pulling down towards the spine every time you breathe out completely. Breathing in, fully fill up the lungs. Breathing out, deflating, emptying out the lungs. Arms are going to lower down onto the mat. Feet get to lower down onto the mat. I hope you felt a little bit of core work there. The arms stretch back up to the ceiling. Keep the feet relaxed and down. We're going to take the right arm backwards and the left arm forward. Nice big inhale. Exhale back up to the sky. Switching. And lift. Try to touch each wall. Get that shoulder opening. Especially if you have a computer job, we want to do as much opening through the front of the chest, the front of the shoulder as you can. I've found that with working from home, I am walking and up and about a whole lot less. So any kind of extra opening is great for that counteraction to keep you nice and balanced, to help with your alignment and posture. Pause with both arms up to the ceiling. Now as you inhale, both arms stretch backwards. Exhale, lifting back up. Just for 3 more. Exhale up. Every time you breathe out, you can still think of that navel to spine. So every time you exhale, it's still technically activating our core. With the arms all the way up to the ceiling, we're going to take the fingertips on top of the shoulders. You reach the elbows up to the ceiling, and then I'm drawing as big of a circle as I can all the way around the room. And as I'm drawing these circles through the elbows, you can take a little check-in with, hey, how does my upper back feel? How do my shoulder blades feel? Once the elbows reach the ceiling, you relax the shoulder blades down and then you reverse. Deep inhales, deep exhales, moving on through. Last two, and last one. So that was kind of your active intermission. You're going to extend the arms down and forward. Reach the fingertips as close to your heels as you can to really get that space between the shoulders and the ears. And then we're going to go back to that tabletop. So exhale, one knee into tabletop. Big next exhale, add the second leg. Find your sweet spot, find your working position for today. Here we go. You're going to nod your chin towards your chest. You're going to reach the arms forward. You're going to hold on nice and tight to the back of the thighs. Then you're going to bend the elbows to lift up as much as you can. So this is called an upper ab curl. I'm curling and bending through my back and through my upper body. My elbows are reaching out wide, so my arms are doing some work here. And I'm still pulling in through the inner thighs and pulling down through the belly button. Can I hold this positioning and change my hands to reach them behind my head? So it's kind of like a magic trick. Can you keep everything the same and just swipe the tablecloth out from underneath the silverware? And hopefully nothing changed through the upper body. You still keep the elbows trying to touch the thighs because that's how far forward your arms were. Two more deep breaths. Big inhale. Big exhale. One more deep breath. Big exhale. Bend the knees in. Relax the upper body all the way down. Your arms are going to open out to the two sides. You're going to cross your left knee tightly over top of your right knee. Both legs go into a sway all the way over to the side. For that previous exercise, I'm hoping that you felt some kind of abdominal work, or maybe a whole lot of abdominal work. Drag the knees back to center. Same direction, just one more time. As the knees stretch, my opposite shoulder stays grounded down. But also in that last exercise, I hope that you were able to find a placement for your hands where your neck and your head were able to relax. Come on back to center, switch legs. And then we've got two to the opposite side, two, reaching over. Getting some movement and mobility through our back. Exhale, center. Last one, inhale, reach. Exhale, center. So find that same exact setup again. Exhaling, knees into tabletop position. Arms stretches straight and forward as they can. Chin to chest to upper ab curl. Hold on to the back of the thighs. Bend the elbows to find your lift there. And then this time when you let go, you're going to reach the arms forward. And you're going to pump the arms up and down for an exercise called the 100. Now, technically, we do 100 pumps of the arms. But what I'm mainly interested in is, can you keep your shape the same? Can you keep your starting position the same? So you're really reaching the fingertips to try to touch the bottom side of the mat. You're keeping the shoulder blades wide and spreading apart. You're figuring out where the eyes need to look so that the neck stays nice and long and not involved. You're pulling the belly button down. You have 4 more deep breaths. If you'd like to advance this, you straighten the legs. 3 more deep breaths. You can even flex the feet and see if you get a nice calf stretch there. Finishing up that final exhale, bend the knees in towards you, plant the feet down onto the mat, plant the hands down onto the mat. You're going to rock the pelvis to roll all the way up into a bridge. Press the feet down, press the hands down. Open up that whole area that we just contracted, that we just worked. Tuck the pelvis and roll all the way down. It is a surreal experience not being able to communicate and see how everyone's doing. I hope you're still having fun, even though that was just a good amount of work there. Rock the pelvis, roll the hips up. Same thing that we started with is You want to only go wherever it feels good. So if you lift the hips too high and it starts to pull in your back, adjust as needed, rolling back down. Tuck the pelvis, use the abdominal muscles to roll and scoop to come on up. Pressing through the arms, tuck the pelvis to roll all the way back down. Bend both knees in towards you, hold onto the hamstrings, rocking forward all the way up to sitting. And then once you're all the way up to sitting, the legs are gonna come mat width apart, and then the arms are gonna come to be behind your head. With the hands behind the head, if that's uncomfortable on the shoulders, you can crisscross them in front of the chest. So just finding the positioning that works best there. It's gonna be a big inhale through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, twist the upper body, really wring out the spine. Inhale back to center. Exhale, switching over to the opposite side. Now, sometimes with my legs straight, it's difficult to sit up tall. I can bend my knees and see if that helps my range of motion as I rotate from one side to the other. And switch. And center. Big exhale all the way over to one side. Inhale back. Final one all the way over to the opposite side. Inhale back. Bring the legs straight forward and together. Bring the arms straight up to the ceiling. You're back to that starting spine stretch. You can hopefully start to feel it's getting a little bit easier as we go through. And then you're seeing how slowly you can roll all the way down again. Low abs pull in. We're rolling down for 4, 3, 2, and a 1. Bend the knees. I'm so sorry to do this, but we're going to tabletop an upper ab curl just one more time. This is the last one, I promise. You keep the tabletop. You exhale to upper ab curl, hands to hamstrings. Find that shoulder blade lift. So can your upper ab curl match the first one you did? Now we're back to still testing this starting point. One leg is going to reach all the way forward. I'm going to hold on to that opposite shin and hug that knee in towards me. And then I'm going to switch. So my hands are holding on nice and tight to the knee, to the shin. If the leg straightening and stretching forward changes my upper body positioning or my low back positioning, I modify so that my leg straightens up to the ceiling instead. So closer in towards me, it's easier, it's not easy at all, easier to keep the upper body and the low back the same. The further away from you go, the more work it is. You only have that for 4, 3, 2, and a 1. Great. All right, once you're resting all the way down, we're gonna flip all the way over so that you're lying down on your stomach. Take your time to get settled in there. Your hands are going to be flat so that they're underneath each shoulder, and then the toes are relaxed so that they're kind of hanging out all the way backwards. With the legs a little bit apart, that provides a little bit more room for my low back, so adjusting the legs as much as you need to. And then you're going to plant the hands down, squeeze the elbows in tight, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. I'm going to start lifting my head, my neck, and my shoulders. We're going to see what this range of motion is like today. And then you exhale, you lower all the way down. Finding your personal range of motion means how far can I lift so I could potentially straighten my arms while keeping my guidelines, keeping the integrity of the movement, moving with a purpose. So that means that my shoulders stay away from my ears, my abdominal muscles scoop in, and I'm not feeling too much compression or strain through my low back. I'm really trying to work my upper back to open up the front of the chest. One more, it's going to be a big inhale as you lift up there. Exhale, lowering all the way down. Hands come underneath the forehead. Rest the shoulders, rest the low back. Keeping the hips grounding down into the mat, you're going to think of sliding the left leg further backwards than the right leg. With that sliding action, a straight leg is going to lift up. Find where you can lift the leg, where again, the low back is okay. So I'm squeezing my glute and my hamstring to get that lift. And really listening to your body to find what your range of motion is for today, lowering that leg down. Switching sides, I slide my right leg backwards. I lengthen and lift my right leg up. And lowering down. We're just gonna do that one more each way. Slide and lift. Continuing with that deep breathing. Opposite side one last time, slide and lift. Lowering that leg all the way down. Take your time, you're going to slide the hands underneath. You're gonna push backwards into child's pose. The knees are bent, they can be nice and wide there. The hips go over the heels. My arms are active and reaching straight and forward. We're just going to take one nice big inhale through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, reach the sit bones behind you, reach the crown of the head and the fingertips forward. And then taking your time, you're going to be lying down on your right side. And you can use your right arm like a pillow here. So I just kind of cozy up. My knees are bent. My knees are going to be towards the top of the mat. My free left hand is pressing into the mat, and I'm finding as neutral and stacked of a pelvis as I can. From here, we're going to straighten and slide the top leg all the way down to the bottom of the mat. Keep that reach. So I'm trying to make my footprint on the wall, and that's going to help lengthen and really elongate through my center to find some space through the spine. And then I lift the leg up at hip height. Keep your reach as best as you can. We're going into external rotation. So the knee and the toes face the ceiling. You're doing your best to envision that there's a wall behind you. So the top hip is staying forward, even as I'm rotating my knee. So my knee's trying to face the sky. Keep that reach. We're going into very small circles, just for 4, 3, 2, and a 1. You're going to reverse directions for 4, 3. I'm hoping you're feeling some work through the back of the thigh, back of the hip. Now pause there. We're going to lift up just a little bit, and then you circle from there, still driving hip forward, knee into turnout, and reversing directions from there. 4, 3, 2. Here we go, team. You're going to try to reach the leg as high up as you can. Keep driving that top hip forward, and you circle on the ceiling. 3, 2, reverse for 4, 3, 2, and a 1. Bend that knee in. Before we switch sides, you're going to prop yourself up onto your elbow, onto your forearm there. My knees are going to stay bent. My forearm comes down. I lengthen the neck as long as I can. You squeeze that bottom shoulder blade all the way in and down, and then my free hand presses into the mat again. We're gonna squeeze the bottom side abdominal muscles to hover the hips up. Once your hips are hovering, I hope you can see that if you're looking, the top arm can reach up to the ceiling. And then what you're trying to do is keep the neck long. Find that bottom underside of the arm working, find the bottom side abs working. And then if you're interested, you can hover the knees as well. So I just took my top foot right in front of my bottom foot, and I'm in a bent knee hip hover. Take one more deep breath. Resting all the way down. Starting with your side leg circles on the opposite side. So it's so deceiving because you just kind of cozy up like you're ready to go back to bed. So that way I'm able to relax my shoulders, my neck, my mid back and my upper back. And then I take my top leg and I slide it all the way long. And then you lift it up at hip height. You make your footprint onto the wall. When you go into external rotation, you keep that top hip stacked and driving forward. And then you circle the leg from there, just for 4, 3, 2, and reversing for 4, 3, 2, lifting halfway to circle for 4, and 3, 2, heel forward to get that rotation and reverse for 4. And of course, you're still breathing and having a great time. Here we go. You can point the toes, lift it on up and circle. Still drive that hip forward. 3. It's okay if my knee's bent too. I'm still gonna get the work through the back of the hip. Reversing for 4, 3, 2, 1. You lower that knee all the way down. You come on up, elbow down. Squeeze the armpit. Free hand pressing down. The neck is long, so I'm hovering my hips, keeping the neck long, squeezing a grate underneath that armpit to get that underside working, to get my bottom supportive side working. You can lengthen the arm up to the ceiling. You can change the foot positioning and hover the knees for 3 deep breaths. And 2 deep breaths. And 1. Lower the knees all the way down. Flip to be on your hands and your knees. I hope that everyone's still with me. Everyone just like pretends like their screen's frozen right when we got to that side plank hover. You can just stop moving. Great way to blame technology. Okay, hands are underneath your shoulders, knees are underneath the hips. Find as long of a spine as you can. So the crown of the head is reaching forward, the sit bones are reaching backwards, and I'm really shoving the mat through the floor here. Keep the mat shoving through the floor. You slide one leg behind you. Keep the mat shoving through the floor. So I'm almost thinking if I could get my shoulders up into the ceiling, or if there was a Pilates mat on the back side of my body that I'm trying to keep my alignment along with. Big inhale through the nose. As you exhale through the mouth, add in your second leg. Holding your plank position for today. If this isn't okay on your wrists, lower the knees down and lower down so you're on your forearms. How do I continue to lift up to the ceiling? 2 more deep breaths through there. 1 more deep breath through there. Keep that push down. With control, you lower the knees down. You spin to have a seat. You can face the camera if you'd like. All right, what a whirlwind. Finishing up here, your hands are going to be resting on top of the thighs. You can sit however is most comfortable. So it can either be crisscross applesauce, or you can straighten one leg out to the side. You can straighten both legs out to the side, whatever feels best for you. You're going to slowly drop your left ear to your left shoulder. Through that left ear to left shoulder, you're pouring water out of that ear. And then we come all the way back upright. Take your time anytime you're stretching your head and your neck. We're going over right ear to right shoulder. And coming all the way back up. The arms are going to lower down to be right in front of the legs. And then you're going to lift the arms up to the ceiling, open the arms out to the sides, really try to touch each wall, and then you lower down. 1 more arm circle. Lift, open, and down. You guys, that's your Pilates class for today. I'm going to turn it over to Girls Night In online to see if there's any questions. But again, follow me on Instagram. You can also email me if you have any questions for me, if you want to learn more about Pilates or the studio, or even just to kind of check in to let me know how you felt.